Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be breaking down this Sunday, February 10th slate in the NBA Draftkings. They've broken it down a little bit weird on Draftkings. I think FanDuel might have a 5-game slate, but we're going to take a look at it. All this information will be beneficial for any of the sites that you're playing on, give you an early look at what the slate's looking like, and just help you out throughout the day. Right now, I just want to say thank you if you're here on this channel. If you're a returning subscriber, I greatly appreciate you. We broke through that 2,500 threshold for subscribers, and that's something that I'm going to be giving a giveaway very soon. And then for anybody who's new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Sal, and what we do is we break down daily fantasy sports from NFL, now NBA, and we'll get to MLB when the season comes. And we just try and give you the data to help you make your own lineups, to help you see what the slate's looking like each and every day. This is some stuff that, sure, premium sites have a lot more than this, but this is some of the stuff that they utilize. I research this for about an hour to 2 hours every day, and I just give it out because I think it's valuable for you guys. You guys watching it creates value for me, so it's just a big win-win. So I appreciate it. If you do get value at any point through this, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and drop down in the comments and let me know what you like the most out of these videos. If you have any recommendations, if they're helping you, I'd love to know. If they're helping you win money, I'd also love to know that as well. So we're going to start this slate off. And before we do, I just want to quickly jump into Draft Dashboard, who's sponsoring today's video. Draft Dashboard helps you reduce your research time. I use it to find my usage stats, to find minutes per game, fantasy points per game. You can find some other things. They have ownership now, which is actually very helpful. Ownership, if you're playing tournaments, is viable. Or not viable, it's vital. And you have projections, just some other things. You can create lineups, you can see depth charts, all those types of things. It's 30 days for $1. You can test it out with the promo that they've given me down below in the description. 30 days for $1. I use it to find all this research. It helps me in the mornings. But let's break down to the slate. So right now we're on here on Twitch, and if you want to hop into Twitch, everybody's chatting in there right now. It's awesome. It's a way for me to be interactive after these shows that I record for YouTube. I do talk with a bunch of people. I hop on these live streams as much as I can. So if that's something that you're interested in, hit the link down below, and I greatly appreciate my supporters. If you guys can hit that link and follow me, it helps me out a ton. So that's where we're broadcasting from today. We're going to jump in, and we're going to just look at the injuries. And again, it's 5 games today, but they're broken down on DraftKings into a 2 and a 3-game slate, and then another 2-game slate at night. It's just all confusing, but all this information will be beneficial to you in some way or another, depending on the slate you're playing. It will still matter. Luka's probable. Devin Booker went from being a little bit uncertain, sat out the last game, to now probable. It's going to be interesting to see what the Suns do with this starting lineup. Tyler Johnson, they said, was going to be in the starting rotation the last time out, and then I'm not sure if he actually ended up getting the start. I don't remember. For some reason, I don't think he did. But with Devin Booker back, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of trading for Tyler Johnson. Is he going to stay in their starting rotation at point guard, or are you still going to have this Eli Okabu guy who's just a terrible fantasy player in the starting rotation? Does that mean Devin Booker goes back to the 2? We know that we like Devin Booker at the 1, and really any player that has the opportunity to go from the 2 to the 1, just because they have more ball handling ability, they'll have more opportunities to drive, more assists, double-double and triple-double upside. So keep an eye on Phoenix starting lineup, how they're going to go about that. I mean, you have a bunch of guys who, if they're in the starting rotation, become better players, such as Tyler Johnson, such as Mikal Bridges, Kelly Oubre. You have to watch and see what happens here in terms of how they're going to roster. Josh Hart, not a really big deal, whatever happens with him. They have so much depth there now. LeBron James, probable. I put load management. If you're playing on FanDuel, keep everything in mind today. Watch out for those zeros. Reggie Bullock, he's out. He's going to be out there today, and Mike Muscala. And this is an interesting situation. Reggie Bullock is now the best shooting guard, 3-point shooter on this team, percentage-wise. He's better than Pope. He's better than Stevenson. He's better than Hart. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly they get him minutes. He's priced at the minimum $3,000. If for some reason he gets thrown into the starting rotation, I think he's a very viable play on the small slate. $3,000 and on a new team is definitely very sketchy. Especially since you don't know the role he'll be playing, but I would imagine it's going to be similar to the Pistons, and it's going to be just spot up shoot. If he can get you 20 points at $3,000 on a small slate, you kind of take that here, especially in cash. Warren remains to be out, so Josh Jackson should continue to see starts and continue to see high usage. Melton's still out. Joel Embiid's questionable. We talked about this beforehand in the Twitch stream, and Joel Embiid being questionable with these illnesses, it just seems like the guy's going out on Friday nights and just partying it up. And then he comes into the office, and since it's such a lackadaisical injury reporting system in the NBA, it seems like he's just like, oh, well, yeah, I don't feel great today. I'm hungover, coach. And they're just messing around. And then he's like, I'm just going to put you on the injury report then. And then he's like, whatever. And then he walks out of the office. That's how I picture this. Because the man seems to be sick literally once or twice a week with an illness. So it just seems a little fishy. So I think he's going to play. He plays through these illnesses all the time. I'm not taking too much into account there. If he doesn't play, I mean, we have impacted players. Boban, he came in. He got a standing ovation when he scored. Simmons, Tobias Harris. I am worried about this Sixers teams in terms of Tobias Harris being there now. It was a small sample, but we did see Joel Embiid, even though he was sick. We saw Joel Embiid, we saw Ben Simmons, we saw all their usage in points go down, pretty much except Jimmy Butler. I feel like we're going to be trying to throw a dart at the board. Majority of the time, I think Embiid's going to be the guy who's going to be playing well. But Tobias Harris there, a high usage guy, a high scorer, it's going to hit similar now to what we're seeing in Golden State. I rarely play Golden State guys because they all cut into each other's production and they're still priced too high. So it's going to be hard to see what happens there. Andre Iguodala is questionable. That'll open up some more minutes for Kevon Looney. So watch that. Jonathan Simmons is going to be questionable to start based on the trade that they had with the Magic with Philadelphia. James Ennis is also out there. That's a reminder from Houston. Not too much there. Dwyane Wade, this is actually a pretty decent news piece here. He came out with a neck and a back injury. Dion Waiters can potentially get inserted into the starting rotation. I like him at his price. Justin Winslow at the point guard position. He's going to be controlling that point now that we have Tyler Johnson out of there and into Phoenix. It's a little bit scary just because Justice Winslow, his price remains the same. He always has that 40-plus point upside, especially at the point guard position, and we'll get there for sure. So these are the injuries. Just, things to watch is what is Phoenix starting rotation or lineup going to look like? Does Reggie Bullock somehow draw a start today? And obviously keep an eye on Embiid and Dwyane Wade. We'll quickly head over into Vegas, and we'll see what's happening over there. I'm just going to quickly try and look at the chat as well. So Vegas, as of right now, or when I was looking about 45 minutes ago, maybe the lines, and you could drop this in chat if some of these lines have come out for the Dallas and Portland game. And then Sacramento and Phoenix, I think they're still waiting on some injury news in those games, and just the lines haven't been made yet. We do have, in terms of just close games, some, I guess you can say, over-unders, the ones that are out all over 220, so definitely a nice slate early on to look at here. But we don't have all the information, right? 2 of the games on the 5-game slate or 5 games on the day aren't out yet, so keep an eye on that. Early on, you can see 234 is nice, 224 is nice, 222 is nice. Keep in mind this 14-point difference here. I never really take blowouts into account, and we always mention this, but at Golden State on the road in Miami is a team that is just dreadful. It's definitely something to have in the back of your head, and personally, I don't play many Golden State players or many Miami players, so I'm not too worried about getting to this game. We're going to slide over to target offense. I'm going to quickly look at the chat while I leave this on. You guys can glare at it for a second. Sal, I'm very impressed with how many followers you have picked up. Awesome job. Thank you. I appreciate that. YouTube, we have over 2,500 subscribers right now. Shout out YouTube. You guys are incredible. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. This community is awesome. Twitch, I'm trying to grow Twitch. I'm trying to become partner as soon as possible. I think 1,000 is definitely in reach in the next few months. I don't see why not. Twitter, we're approaching 1,000 in all a few amount of time, so it's awesome. Gonna fade LeBron and stack the other 4 Lakers starters for roughly 20K. Maybe that's a good situation. The total indicates that. The pace, we're going to say, indicates that. Just seems like a lot of leverage to have on those 4 starters when you know LeBron's going to get a ton of usage and maybe one other guy goes off in that game. I'm not sure that I want to go there. I'm running one with Bullock. Bullock, I'm waiting to see what these starting lineups are. Even if he's not in at $3,000, you would imagine he sees around 20 minutes today just based on the fact that Josh Hart's questionable. If Josh Hart's out, even better. I think Bullock jumps Lance Stevenson right away in this rotation. They got him because he can shoot, and they don't have a guy who can shoot outside of LeBron sometimes. I think Tobias' addition hurts Simmons the least. Guy doesn't look for his shot, and his usage remains the same. Tobias's usage, just overall, it's going to hurt everybody. It might not directly impact Simmons in the way that he plays the game. He's like a facilitator first. He'll get his rebounds. But I still do think that Tobias is going to be in there getting his rebounds, doing his things as well, especially at the power forward position. It's an interesting mesh just because Ben Simmons is sort of a unicorn the way he runs the point as kind of a power forward. At least a small forward. So, interesting to see. It was a 1-game sample. I'm interested to see more. When did this Embiid illness surface? Embiid's illness last night. He's questionable with an illness. Literally last night. So he was probably out. Texted coach that he was out at the bar. He wasn't going to be ready in the morning. Yeah, exactly. When he left the bar. Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's get back to this. So target offenses. We're gonna let's factor this by pace so we can look at the pace. So you can see we have. I believe if we go over here quickly to the pace sheet. We have half the teams playing today are the top 10 in pace. So you're going to see a lot of pace-up spots for a lot of teams, and the teams that are both in the top 10 playing each other will have higher paces. That's the Lakers and Philadelphia. Sacramento's number 2, and you have 13 Phoenix. That's going to be a higher pace game. So, the over-under probably going to be the highest one on the slate. The pace indicates a nice correlation there, so you're going to see a lot of possessions and a lot of points between the Lakers and Philadelphia. And there's a lot of pieces in these games, right? You have LeBron and Rondo, and then all the other secondary options with Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma. On the Lakers side, Philadelphia, you have the entire team that's becoming sort of this version, maybe the poor version or maybe not, of this Golden State team where they just have 4 superstars and a guy like JJ Redick who can be a poor man's Klay Thompson, right? In the way that they both play the game, standing out at the three-point line and not really taking many dribbles. It's definitely interesting, this team. It's just hard to pick, and it's like throwing a dart. Again, I faded that high total game yesterday with a high pace because there was too few options that were too expensive, and I really couldn't get anywhere else in the game that I felt comfortable. This game, there's some options that I like, and we'll get into them, but there's also a ton of options that can go off, and you're kind of throwing a dart. These are slates that are usually, or games that I usually try not to play too much of, but it's a small slate, so if I'm going to play, you're kind of forced to. So what you're looking at here, if you're first time here, is just projected pace we have highlighted. It's how many possessions there will be in the game, and that's me projecting it. Just with a formula, basically, it factors into account both teams' pace on the year and then takes into account the league average pace of 102.36. You factor that all in. The reason you can't just add up these two teams' pace and divide it is because these two teams are some of the fastest paced teams in the league. So when they play each other, you imagine there's going to be more possessions than if they played a team like Portland, who's a little bit slower paced. Makes sense? So you have the totals here. You guys can see it's a nice little dashboard. And let me know in the comments on YouTube. Let me know in the chat if there's stuff that you guys want to see added to this in terms of team stats. We do defensive efficiency, things like that. Please do let me know. So possessions per game, you always want to see where there's going to be more possessions per game, potentially correlated with the total, because you're going to get more points not only from pure scoring, but also for fantasy, rebounds, double-double, triple-double upside. You can see here, these are how a team defends a specific position in terms of DraftKings points over the last 30 days. This will scale down to FanDuel, and this will scale down to Yahoo or wherever you're playing that has a salary cap. But it's nice just to see what the team's been doing over the last 30 days in terms of DraftKings points, because personally, I'd rather look at it in terms of DraftKings points because defensive efficiency instead of defensive efficiency. Defensive efficiency doesn't always translate over into the most optimal DraftKings points, right? DraftKings points factor in things like rebounds being 1.25 compared to an assist and things like that. That's what I want to look at. So it's a nice dashboard here. You guys can screenshot this. I'll be dropping it on Twitter and into the Facebook groups. And I'll get into now the guards, so the early interest guards on the slate. And this, before I get into this, I just want to say that it is going to be a little weird today because the slates are broken up in different ways. So obviously, if I'm playing a 2-game slate, some of these guys are going to be just more on my mind because 1, they're on the 2-game slate and the other guys aren't on the slate. And 2, it's a 2-game slate, so I'm trying to differentiate myself in cash or just find those safer guys in cash. So it's tough for me to really talk about this, but I'll just look at it from a holistic point of view. If there was a 5-game slate today, instead of trying to break it down from all different angles based on the type of slate you're going to be playing, because personally, I don't know which slate I'm going to be playing yet. I haven't really looked too much. So these are my interests so far. I didn't fill out the usage rates and things like that. I just wanted to make sure we got on air by 10 a.m. But there's no big deal there. I mean, you can go on fantasypros.com. You can go on NBA Advanced Stats, and you get all the usage rates, minutes, things like that. Let me just see what the chat's going on here. What was the 50 from Lamb yesterday? Yeah, I don't know what happened with that 50 from Lamb. Is anyone interested in playing NASCAR today? You don't have to know much about the sport. I will be posting optional cash and GPP lineup follow. All right, yeah, I'd like to know more about NASCAR. I'll definitely look into it for sure. And if anybody on YouTube knows about it, please do let me know. So Dwyane Wade today, 4,200. If he finds himself in the starting lineup, or even if he doesn't, if we find word more so that Dwyane Wade is out, he's going to get way more minutes. And if he's in the starting lineup, I do like him at that price. We're going to be feasting for value today based on it being a smaller slate. That we're not really waiting on any news unless we get some sort of late scratch on a Sunday, which it seems like we always do. But he becomes a nice value spot. The next thing that I'll talk about is all these Magic guys. Terrence Ross is now priced up to $53. Evan Fournier is at $5,000. We also have Jonathan Isaac at $5,000. All these guys basically on the same team, in the same price range. We have Isaac at the exact same price range as Evan Fournier. And if you want to talk about the psychological side of DFS, when people see people at the same price point, one of them is going to automatically be underowned. The herd is going to gravitate towards one of them, right? They're going to gravitate most likely to the one who's either higher projected or has the higher fantasy points on the year. So in terms of $5,000 Evan Fournier, and we'll go to the forwards, well, we could wait, $5,000 Jonathan Isaac, they're the same price. More people are going to go towards Fournier, I believe, just because he has a higher DraftKings points per game on the year. People might know his name more. I think both are just fringe and tough place to get to. If you get there, don't start your lineup with them. Same thing with Terrence Ross. I know he's been going off as of late. He's been seeing the minutes. I like him obviously more than the other guys because he has that higher ceiling, been more consistent as of late. But all these guys just do scare me. I'd favor Terrence Ross over all those Magic guys. De'Aaron Fox, probably my favorite play on the slate as of right now. He continues to be underpriced. He continues to hit his average projection points and really hasn't really seen his ceiling in a little while, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine paying $7,300 on a slate like this where there's very limited spots to pay up and pay down. He's a nice mid-range option. Buddy Hield, I've been playing Buddy Hield basically in my cash game lineup the last 3 or 4 times these teams have played. He's below 7K. Whenever he goes below 7K, I think he's a great value. 6,600 is just an incredible value for a guy who's going to go out there and get you 35 DraftKings points. It's just a matter of does he get closer to the 50 ceiling. Brandon Ingram, 5,400. I think he's great. Again, I want to see what this Lakers starting lineup looks like. Does Brandon Ingram get to start at shooting guard? We know he has that eligibility. Ideally, that would be the better spot for him. I'm not sure where he got to start last time or if he got to start at all, but he's been playing great, played 40 minutes in the last game. $5,400 is fine with me, even if he doesn't start. He's going to be seeing around 30 minutes in this game. Luka Doncic, between him and Damian Lillard, I like Luka a little bit more. He's priced up about $400 more in DraftKings. But I do like him a little bit more. $9,200. I think there's more triple-double upside. I think there's just more pure scoring potential in terms of not having another guy like a Nurkic on the Blazers to kind of take your points away. Tyler Johnson, again, watch what happens with this Phoenix starting lineup. If he's in the starting lineup, I like him. If he's not, I'm not going to go there. Don't want to play around with those minutes. Justice Winslow, $5,500. I've been burned by this guy like the last 2 times we've been playing him at the same exact price point as a point guard, but the upside's still there. Tougher matchup today for sure. If there's any piece of this game that I'm going to touch, it's either going to be Dwyane Wade because of the value or potentially Justice Winslow. As of right now, I'm not going to be playing Justice Winslow, but we'll have to see once I start making lineups and how people slide in, finish out that Sudoku puzzle. But I don't really want to touch that game. I don't like anything on Golden State personally, and Miami's just throwing a dart at who's going to be playing well today because they usually just all cut into each other's usage outside of a guy recently, Hassan Whiteside, who's just been going off. Kevin Huerter, I do like him. He's still priced below $5,000. We always say it pales a ghost. You can see right through him. $4,900 is still too cheap for a guy who's going to be seeing 30-plus minutes in a game. Again, Atlanta's a team that just reminds me so much of Miami. There's just 10 players on there who could all go for 20 DraftKings points and who all do cut into each other's usage, right? John Collins and Trae Young, the only guys who have real ceilings on this team. But Kevin Huerter is a guy for safe minutes at the shooting guard position. If he starts there, it's going to be a little bit scary because we know shooting guards, they don't get as much usage on DraftKings. You try and avoid them. You try and get point guards in that shooting guard position, or at least you should, because they're not going to get many assists or rebounds. It's purely shooting. That's why Klay Thompson, a phenomenal real-life basketball player, pretty shitty basketball player in terms of DraftKings, FanDuel, DFS. Mikal Bridges, again, watch this starting lineup. $4,700 is too cheap for a guy going to be seeing 33 to 35 minutes today. Rodney Hood, $3,700. He played, I think, 25 minutes in his debut out there, I believe, in Sacramento. So keep an eye on him on a slate where right now we're searching for value. We're going to slide over to the forwards now, and I'm going to look at the chat quickly. Thanks will be the first NASCAR. Okay, yes, everybody's talking about NASCAR. I'll definitely get in there. One tip for you guys, place differentiation is a key for success in NASCAR. Yes, a lot of people talking about NASCAR. I'm very curious about this NASCAR. Definitely hit me up on Twitter if you can, or Facebook, whatever it might be. I'm going to look and see if there's any news right now that we have on Fantasy Labs, anything that came out that I should be letting you guys know for this video. Nothing as of right now. Okay. So we're going to go over to forward, and it's very light, and I think overall on both slates there's more guard upside in terms of value. There's not a lot of forwards, and obviously you can factor in some of these guards as also forwards like Brandon Ingram. You can put them in both slots, I believe maybe in Evan Fournier. So LeBron James at 10-8. There's really 2 pay-up options on this slate. It's LeBron or Embiid. I have interest in both of them because I have to see on how the slate breaks down in terms of lineup construction. Can I fit one of them in? LeBron at 10-8. I don't like paying up too much for him, but he's always a triple-double upside. He just came off that monster game. A little bit scary paying that much for LeBron today, but again, I have to see how the slate is. Harrison Barnes, $5,100. I imagine he's going to be starting at the small forward position for this team. I think he's a little bit too cheap if he does. Fast-paced team. He's in a much better spot in terms of pace getting traded to this team. Interested to see what goes there. I'm very interested in Sacramento today in that game in general. Jonathan Isaac, $5,000. We already touched on him. Aaron Gordon, $6,700 in a very good matchup against Atlanta in another pace-up spot. Aaron Gordon's a guy who will always get you 25 first-half DraftKings points, right? That's what it seems like, and then he'll go for 10 in the second half, and he just becomes dust. 6,700, I do like him today. Josh Jackson, if we get Devin Booker back in the starting lineup, we'll take a little bit of a usage hit. Be interested to see if he remains at the small forward position, if they try and get him to the power forward position, which would, I feel like it makes sense to get him to the power forward position if you're trying to get a guy like Tyler Johnson into the starting rotation at point guard, Booker at at shooting guard, and then you can go at small forward. You can go with Bridges or whoever it might be. So I do like Josh Jackson. If he starts at the 4, I like him a little bit more double upside. Tobias Harris, $6,600. I think he's the one who's mispriced here. I think Ben Simmons is also cheap, but right now I don't have interest in that. These guys are going to continue to cut into each other. Just when you take a star from one team and put him on another team, it's just a matter of time before they cut into each other. We saw that already in the first game. It's only a 1-game sample, so we have to keep an eye on it. I do like Tobias Harris, so I think he's a little bit too cheap at $6,600. Not sure if I'll actually get there myself, though. We're going to slide over to center quickly. So center, JaVale McGee is way too cheap. Who else is out there? Like, we can slide over to DraftKings quickly. We still have the draft dashboard up. Who else is out there at center for the Lakers, right? Chandler? No. I mean, Muscala might see some minutes there, but probably not. I mean, you want to go to power forward. I mean, it's LeBron, Kuzma. It's literally JaVale McGee's the only true center there. I mean, yes, Chandler is a true center, but what's he going to see today? Maybe he sees this 15 minutes again with Muscala there. I can see him losing 2 or 3 of those. So JaVale McGee saw 30 minutes in the last game, and he kind of, if he's going to see 30 minutes, he kind of hit his floor or maybe his average with only, I think, like 27 fantasy points. 4,700, I think he's too cheap. I think he's a very easy cash plug and play right there, sort of like a free square unless we get any other news. Maxi Kleber, 4,300, I think he's too cheap for a guy who's going to see 25 minutes in this game. In terms of cash, doesn't really have a ceiling on him, but in terms of cash, if he's going to see 25 minutes around a point per minute guy, I'm fine paying $4,300 for that. Joel Embiid, he has an illness. I think he's going to play. Here's just a scary thing once again. There's 4 or 5 guys on this team now with Tobias Harris there who are going to cut a dent into his production. He's probably the guy who sees the least dent just because he's playing the center position. They still work through him. He's still going to be a guy getting all the rebounds. So I'm fine playing him today, but I want to see how lineup construction goes if I need to get up there. DeAndre Ayton, $6,900. Nice, $6,900. I do like him today. Just overall, I like the matchup. I like where his usage is going to be, especially if for some reason we get Booker being out. Early interest for sure. Not too much in depth with Ayton though. Cauley-Stein and Bagley. So look, they both have incredible matchups. They're both in this phenomenal pace-up spot. It's just interesting for me. $5,300 for Cauley-Stein is too cheap, but is it though? Like, we're used to him playing very well early in the year. Now he's not playing well at all. $5,300 seems a little bit too cheap. Marvin Bagley at $6,000 is the guy who he's cooled off a little bit. The last 2 games after that monster game, his career best game, everybody jumped on him. And I was sitting here on streams, on videos saying, no, I'm not going there. I don't want to chase the points. The guy had his career best game, and in tournaments and cash, he's going to be super over-owned now because of that. He's not going to just follow up his career best game with another career best game, especially if he's still not the guy getting all the minutes with Willie Cauley-Stein out there. Now that he's had 2 bad games in a row, I do like him in terms of being just lower owned. The 2-game slate, it's hard to find anybody lower owned, or a 3-game slate. But $6,000 seems to be a little bit too much for me, if I'm being honest. If this was switched and we had $5,300 Marvin Bagley, I'd like him a lot more. But in cash, he's going to have to get you 30 points to 35 points. And I'm not sure he can do that today for me. I like the situation. I like the matchup a lot. But I think the price is just, it's tough. I do have interest in him, but we'll see if I get there. So that's center position for me. I'm going to go back to the injury dashboard. I'm going to quickly look at anything in the chat. Again, YouTube, if you made it this far, you made it all the way through the video, please comment below that you made it all the way through. I want to thank you for watching the entire video personally. Let me know what your favorite part was. Hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. We'll take a quick question or 2 from the chat, see if it's relevant for you guys. If not, I'll let you guys go. So, is LeBron going to play? That's a question that we just got. Load management, right? Probable. He should be playing, Jesse. He definitely should be playing, but you never know with LeBron. He went for a triple-double all-out game last time. Maybe he just takes it easy today. Great show, Sal. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Just doing a single entry. Tom JK, thank you, actually. Thank you a ton. Redfish 3 and 5. Awesome stuff. So yeah, YouTube, I'm going to let you guys go. Again, if you want to get into these live streams, there's a link down below to Twitch. You can go in there. We can talk. I'm going to be doing more live streams, and this is for Twitch chat as well, as the time goes by, right? Right now, I'm broadcasting through Twitch to go onto YouTube to upload the video for you guys. But I do want to get on streams later in the day. Right now, just schedule-wise, I have to figure out how that will work, working through school, working through side jobs, things like that. So in the morning right now, it's going to work. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. Best of luck on this wacky 2-3 game slate, whatever you're going to be playing. 5 on FanDuel. I don't know what Yahoo is. I haven't looked there yet. I'll probably be playing some cash today. 3-game slates, low stakes cash. I think we have some opportunities there. Especially on a Sunday, more casual players probably going to be out there. So thank you so much, YouTube. I appreciate it. My name's Sal. Best of luck. You guys rock. Peace.